All right, 4 o'clock on Thursday. It's time for the Real Estate Happy Hour show.
Man, we're here again every week.
Every week.
Because we're kind of a big deal. So hope you guys had a great week. Good to see you again. What we got today?
Well, we got a little Jackson Brown.
We got a little Jackson Brown running on empty.
Running on empty, hey.
Sometimes we feel like that.
Absolutely. As busy as it is right now, and I know you are, every time I call this guy, busy, busy, busy. Oh, you got it. They're just coming out the ears.
We're running on empty, but it's good.
It is,
fun.
but
anyway,
anyway, we got some good stuff for you today. Hey, Barrio, I hope you're doing well. Anyway, hey, Federal Reserve came out with a big announcement. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Tracy Morgan crashing a $2 million car. We got 11 ideas for home sellers to boost that curb appeal.
We're going to talk a little bit about interest rates and shopping for a mortgage.
Oh, shopping for a mortgage. Yep, that too. And then curb appeal by using that front door as the vehicle to boost that curb appeal, and a little personal finance, stock news, and that kind of thing. But starting off, Tracy Morgan, did you see this? Buys a $2 million car.
I didn't see this, by the way.
But you didn't see it. Yeah, well, he wasn't there. But literally drives off the lot, and a few minutes later, not an hour later, a few minutes later, it gets hit by a guy in a Honda CR-V.
You know, everybody worries about this, right? Especially buying a brand new car, much less, what is it, a Bugatti?
A Bugatti.
Yeah, so that's what, $50,000?
Yeah, you're right. $2 million Bugatti that was
a $2 million car.
Gets hit by a $50,000, or no, less than that, or $28,000.
And you're putting it out there on the road in traffic, which anything could happen. It's crazy.
And talking about your liability, I started thinking, my God, I think I really will pull over if I see one coming by. I mean, it's not worth hitting my limits.
Do you think his insurance payment on that car is more than my mortgage?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Probably.
Yes. Has to be. Has to be, right? And the other thing is, the grand total, now this thing did not hit hard. I mean, it was turning in an intersection. Hit a little fender damage, a little side quarter panel, $32,000, and that doesn't even cover the labor cost.
Yeah, $22,000 for a bumper.
God.
So, I mean, if you got car problems, we'll be honest, you know, Dad's got to replace some tires on his car. He's had it forever. It's less than $22,000.
Yes.
For tires.
I mean, I hope at $2 million his are bulletproof. Like, you know, you can do anything to the tire.
I'm telling you, $22,000 for a bumper.
Anyway,
$10,000 for the quarter panel. Nice.
What are your thoughts on our good friend Mr. Powell at the Federal Reserve?
Mr. Powell, man, amazing how much things have changed since November, right? Him and Trump in November were at odds, and now it seems like he is right in line with whatever we need him to say.
Get in line. No.
And I'm not saying we. I mean, I guess the real estate business, the mortgage business, the government, the stock market.
All in alignment, rarely. And now it is.
Everybody. And so anyway, yesterday they came out and they just said that, I think they just kind of set the tone for maybe opening up to a cut here in the near future. Some people are thinking July. Some people are thinking September. And that just means they're going to go back to cutting the Fed funds rate.
Right. But it gives you guys the opportunity to be competitive against your competitors, keep lowering that rate.
Yeah. And now we had already had rates improve over the last 30 days. Yesterday's news was good news. Okay. A lot of people see this, you know, and I had a client text me this morning about 7 a.m. asking, you know, about the rates. So, look, this doesn't mean that rates have drastically changed overnight. This means that we're going to continue our course. It may be gradual. It's not going to be tremendous. Now, the media is going to say that rates have hit the floor. Right?
Floor. Even saw one say yesterday it's going to go up.
Sky's falling. But yeah, just reach out to me if you have any questions about what's going on there. But I think it's good for us.
On the bright side of that, there was some concern. You know, I'm loving the fact that you can get a savings account interest rate of around 2.25%.
That'll go down.
There was concern, right?
That will go down.
Right, and so you're going to see some movement, but at least they're not raising rates or lowering rates yet, right? So we should be.
But as soon as that rate starts changing, your credit card rates, savings rates, all of those things will lockstep immediately. The mortgage rates won't be immediate, but those rates will be.
Absolutely. So at least we're staying firm right now.
Yeah. So to speak on that, the average rate that we typically bring you every week on a 30-year from Freddie Mac's Mortgage Market Survey, 3.84 on a 30. 3.25 on a 15. That's on average.
And 3.25 on a 15. Good. Now, one thing interesting that you mentioned to me the other day was, now you're putting your wizardry hat on because everybody knows you went to Georgia Tech, so you can see the future. The football team's still going to be 8-4, but where do you see those rates on that 15 going in the fall?
Well, I mean, not necessarily, maybe not by the fall, but definitely in the next 24 months. Somebody in the business that's well respected for knowing information on mortgage rates and always has been, has said that within the next 24 months we will see rates lower than they've ever been, which means low 3s on a 30 and probably less than 3 high 2s on a 15. Now, when will that be? Who knows? Talked to a client today wanting to refinance into a 15-year. Does that make sense to do it today knowing rates are dropping? Maybe, because he could get ahead of his schedule 2 years ahead of it. Why would you wait 24 months for the lowest rates ever? It might behoove you to go ahead and get started on that plan.
All right, so if I were to put it this way, Alabama wins another national championship in football or the interest rates dip below 3, which is first?
Yeah, I'd have to put...
Yeah.
I think I'd have to put Tua.
Yeah, it's Tua time.
Tua back in the championship.
That's right. Little did he know he was affecting the mortgage market.
But, look, it depends on your situation. Obviously, if we can refinance you into a lower term and you can get aggressive and pay that thing off.
Isn't it interesting, though, that we are getting people calling about refinancing again? I mean, it's happening.
Yeah, and it's probably going to happen a lot. Now, this is a very busy purchase season, okay, purchase business season. And then you add some refinances on there. It's going to be great, but just depends on that situation. This guy actually was wanting to get his house paid off before his son goes to college in 8 years.
Well, you know about that.
Yeah, so...
Well, I mean, he knows about paying a mortgage and sending a kid to school.
What could go wrong
there,
Mario? What are you asking there?
What could go? The government's involvement in all this. I think it was back in the time we were talking about Powell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Wait. Numbers came out for the Birmingham market right along with what he's talking about. The reason these people are calling about refinances is that a lot of folks have decided, hey, I'm not moving. There's no need to move because there's no inventory. Inventory steep decline year over year while home prices continue to rise, right? Interestingly enough, this is one of the first months we've seen in a long time where it appears, because we actually had less sales than we did a year ago in May, that we could be plateauing in terms of the demand, right? Because demand has been so hot.
Right.
We've kind of popped that balloon and let a lot of that pressure relieve itself. Because remember, David's talked about it, and as have I, that a lot of times we want these prices to rise, but we don't want them to rise to such a level that we basically evaporate that low-end housing.
Yeah, and I think right now, another thing to your point is that more people right now are going to have an equity position more than they have seen probably in 15 years.
Yeah, probably.
Probably a little bit before 2008, so a couple years before 2008. Gets us close to 15 years, so 12 to 15 years. Largest equity positions that we've seen in
a long time. And one thing that I impress on everybody that I come in contact with that asks about this is, I told you before, the best advice that David ever gave me was, hey, don't refinance into another 30, right? Because that's going backwards, right? I'm resetting the stage, and I'm right back just paying the bank interest. Let's lower the amortization time frame. Oh, that loan.
Yeah, lower the term
of that loan. And we stepped down from a 30 to 20 to 15 and made a massive difference.
And there could be situations, where a 30 still works depending on your interest rate, and maybe you're taking cash off to pay off some other high interest debt. But if you can shave years off the mortgage, then that's obviously a good thing.
Well, and what was interesting yesterday, David and I were running some numbers for somebody, and we were looking at whether or not, because the thought process was, well, I'll just stay on my 30. I'll pay, David came and said, well, it'll be about $350 more per month, but you're going to pay down all this more. Well, so our thought process is, why don't we just pay the $350 on top of what we're already paying? Problem was, there was about $100 difference in principal that would be paid every month. The new amortization schedule with the lower rate on a 15-year term was actually paying more towards principal than the 30-year plus $350. The current loan, absolutely. So it's not dollar for dollar because you got to factor that interest in. And Hey, nothing will change your world like getting that house paid off if you can. And then don't go buy another house with a mortgage right after you pay it off. Everybody wants to with a car, right?
Yeah, but speaking of that, when you are looking at purchasing, you're looking at financing, the best thing to do in shopping, I wanted to bring up, when you're shopping for a mortgage, there are a few things to look at. Obviously, number one is most people focus on is interest rate, right? Mm-hmm. So definitely the rate is going to be a big deal. Now, when you look at the estimates, you want to look at the fees that you're paying, okay, your overall cash to close, which is going to include your down payment, closing costs, and your prepaid items.
And that's what factors into what y'all give us known as the APR, right?
You're right. The APR is the interest rate plus the financing cost, any fees associated with financing. So that'd be your lender fees and things like that. So let's talk about closing costs real quick. The lender fees are obviously going to be fixed. Okay, those are the ones that you can compare. When you're shopping lenders, they don't always know who's doing the title and closing. So don't look at somebody that's got lower title and closing because the realtors pick that, right?
Right. For the most part. For the most part.
Yeah, so that's going to depend on who your realtor selects. The appraisal obviously could vary, things like that.
Property tax is a big one because a lot of these lenders are just guessing and they're not actually asking.
So when you're looking at your monthly payment, when you're comparing monthly payments, and I had this happen earlier this week. It was a $500,000 house, and the other lender was using something like $2,000 in taxes.
It drives you nuts,
which is pretty low, which is really low. And I was using about, I think, $3,000, a little over $3,000.
You're going to get killed every time on that.
Right. So my monthly payment was $100 higher because of my property taxes. And my estimate was a little more accurate than theirs was. So be mindful of those types of things and remember these things that people can manipulate or change to make the payment look better, your taxes and your insurance. So there's just a few things you want to notice.
Get that. Your agent needs to be asking for here's the thing. A lot of agents don't want to have an opinion about hardly anything, right? They just want to pound a check at the end of a transaction. They need to know who the lenders are that have done a good job for their clients in the past. If they give you that list and give you that list, choose one of them, shop them. Now, it's okay to shop them, but at least give that person that is local a chance to look at that good faith estimate or that, I don't know, is that what you call it now?
Yeah,
still?
well, a loan estimate.
A loan estimate. And so that you can find these discrepancies between these online companies and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and let's remember the biggest thing between interest rates is going to be points. The points that you pay for the lowest rates on the market are typically going to have points with them. Now, whenever people advertise rates online, they typically are including points. I've seen a lot of companies that will just send a pre-approval letter with an interest rate on there and no estimate to go with it. So you've got a rate, but you don't know what you're paying for that rate. So I would think, recapping the interest rate and the points is a big deal. Not looking so much at the third-party fees because the lender doesn't control those. Title, attorney, tax stamps, things like that.
Absolutely.
And then the third thing would be your taxes and insurance included in your monthly payment.
Yep.
So there's a few things there that if you're shopping for a mortgage to pay attention to.
I tell people with insurance, just pick a number and apply it to both of them. It doesn't matter what the number is. I mean, just as long as it's close. Just $2,000, great. Now put 2,000 on one, 2,000 on another. Divide it by 12, get your number for monthlies. Just make it consistent because it's not fair to good lenders like David. It's not fair because they actually close the loan. These guys from these Rockets don't close on time. You're mad because they didn't close on time, but it's too late.
Yeah, and my goal every time is for that initial estimate to be higher than what you will end up with at closing and not the other way around.
Free money. You see, David, you get free money.
Yeah, so we try to be upfront, honest upfront.
That's good of you.
And then, the numbers come down when you get to closing. So if you can just do those few things, I think it'll help you.
You're going to be great.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know what's so funny? I remember you saying one time when we were talking about staging or something to do with the house, selling, you said, boy, that front door sure is important. And guess what? I found a topic from our good friends at home like to talk about things you can do that come around that front door area because it really is. When you look up at a house, the first impression, everybody's eyes gravitate to that front door. And there's so much going on, believe it or not, at that front door because there's things you're looking from the street, then you're walking up those steps. Then guess what? You're waiting on those steps and looking around while your realtor's fiddling to get the key, right? So people are paying a lot of attention. So here are 11 things you can do around that front door to really help yourself. First one, look, this stands very important. We see it all the time. Clean up all the dirt, grime, dust, all that crap from around the door that's not only on the door but around the trim.
The front porch, the steps, the railing, all of that stuff, right?
The railing, yes, you're holding on to it.
Spider webs up in the corner.
Yeah, dirt daubers.
Yeah.
Those are always great for buyers when they get to dodge some wasps.
Oh,
it
yeah.
leaves a great impression. The next one is get your front door looking like new. Of course, what does that mean? That means fresh paint and stain if it's a stained door. Make sure that trim. We see it so often when somebody's painted the door and then the peeling paint on the the side lights.
Yeah.
Look, it's a first impression, folks. It's just so crazy.
Yeah, and then next is to touch it up with a new coat of paint.
Yeah, new bold color of paint. Which color, right? So think of red, blue, yellow. Just something that makes it stand out. When they look at that streetscape, make it go with it. I mean, David would pick some crazy color, but like pink. But, pick a good color.
Fuchsia. Fuchsia would be nice. Next one
is greet them with a good welcome mat that serves two purposes. One, give them, I like those ones that kind of like broom material. I don't know what they're called.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll be honest real quick. And walking out on my front porch, maybe yesterday, I know my welcome mat's kind of worn out.
Yeah, you're trying to sell something.
Yeah.
And you're saying goodbye, not welcome.
That's not a good
No. It's kind of like if you go to a nice resort and you see the worn out mat that's supposed to have the Hilton logo and it's just worn. You're kind of like, oh no, how is the room's going to be in this place?
Sure, the sheets are clean.
Yeah, I'm sure they're clean because they can't even get this mat. It's one mat. Here's the next one. And this really does matter. People look, I don't care if they're looking for the for sale sign. If you're in a neighborhood with a lot of houses for sale, a lot of times you're searching for that street number, right? And have you just slapped up a bunch of stickers on a mailbox? It's all right. But maybe we can get some attractive numbers and put it on right near the door, kind of, because that's where they're going to look, right? They're going to look at the mailbox, then the door area to find it.
Absolutely. So dress it up with some new numbers. What's the next one?
The next one is a mailbox. A lot of folks...
You've got mail.
You've got mail right next to the door, right? They either have a door slot or they have a door, a mailbox. And I can't tell you how many houses we've gone in with this, say in Homewood, where they do door-to-door delivery in a lot of them, that are just janked up, right? They're just ratty old metal mailboxes.
Yeah.
And
janked up.
And then mail overflowing. I mean, think of this. If you're a vacant house and you moved out of town, you're still going to get a lot of junk mail if you haven't stopped that mail. Have somebody go over there because it looks awful with all of your flyers and all that free junk mail coming out of it. Anyway.
Next thing is clean up that hardware.
Absolutely. Door knockers, right?
Doorknobs.
And then, the kick plates. If you have a kick plate that is rusted over or some reason needs to be cleaned, make that door. It makes that thing. It's an accessory. It's like
get a new kick.
Hey, it's a pretty girl with a necklace.
Get a new kick.
Absolutely. Next one, the wall sconces. We're talking about those lights on each side of your mirror. The door.
The exterior lighting on the front porch, right?
Absolutely. It doesn't need to be wimpy, right? Because you do go, that's a pretty wimpy light if it's too small. And if it's too big, you go, hey. I mean, it kind of looks cool, but it's kind of overbearing.
Yeah.
There's plenty of options and plenty of styles.
So just get something nice looking, yeah? Just to dress it up.
Just do it and make sure the light...
And look, none of this stuff's very expensive so far.
No, light bulbs. Make sure those light bulbs are in it. That's shocker. Yeah. Next one is, by the way, hey, Tammy, hope you're doing well.
Tammy loves that little yellow hand waving.
Yeah, hey. The other thing is put real. Now I'm gonna say this because I know some people lately have been putting fake flowers. So let's put real flowers in a real flower pot on each side of the door. Seasonal colors, brightly colored.
Make it look nice, especially right now. I mean, it's June, middle of summer.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever been like to Sanford? It's always nice. Like everything on there is nice, and there's a warm feeling you get when you walk out there. That's silly, but it's true. Next one is create a door vignette to tell the story. Look, if you have a nice sweeping front porch and you're not telling the story of what you can do on this front porch, you are missing the story of your house.
If you could just get a vignette.
A vignette, yeah. I couldn't spell it, but hey, think of rocking chairs with Southern living style cushions. Think of a bistro set. Just something to set the mood, because I believe that the pictures, especially when you take pictures and in person, need to tell a story of what you're going to be doing on this front porch.
And then, are we last but not least?
Last but not least.
Ding dong.
Don't forget the doorbell, right?
Make sure it works, huh?
Make sure it works, because you wouldn't believe how many don't work. And the other thing is, hey, if you're in a neighborhood with a lot of up and coming, you're probably going to be targeting a 25 to 40 demographic. Hey, it may be worth a good investment. The first impression they see is a Ring doorbell or something like that. They're going to think you're cool.
What if you put a buzzer inside of it? Yeah.
Like it hits them and then they jump back?
Yeah.
It would be
Shocks
funny.
them. Yeah.
Squirts them. Who knows, right?
So that's 11 things to
do to your front
clean
door.
up the front door. Pretty cheap, pretty easy. Make the house look attractive. Listen, last section, personal finance stock. To be honest with you, didn't have a ton of time to focus on this week, but the stock market is kicking through 26,000. The Dow's up 26.5. Where are we going?
Well, I tell you, you're going to have certain things, certain stocks in certain sectors. Like, let me give you what we deal with in this market where everything seems to be going up.
Snapchat.
Snapchat is, boop, we told you. All right? It's on fire. Now, one thing that is interesting, though, don't worry when you see sectors move down in a certain day, because they'll have quick recoveries. Take today, Carnival Cruise Line, who is polluting the oceans according to the courts.
Yeah, they're paying fines.
Left and right.
They're
and so,
trouble.
so what basically happened was a downgrade from someone on Carnival that brought the entire sector down today.
Understandably.
But you already saw by the end of trading today, a lot of the loss with Royal had recovered. Just find good ones out there. The other thing I'd tell you is make sure that you're investing something for your future. I mean, you got to. It's never too early. If you're late to the party with getting ready for retirement, it's never too late.
Look, I would say right now, and probably for the next 2 to 3 years, I would be putting, 40. I'd be putting a larger percentage into cash than I would be piling into stocks. But don't totally get out of investing in stocks, because you're going to miss from now till whenever it does start falling off. But have some cash available when stocks are cheap. Look, if we have a downturn, if the Fed starts cutting rates and we do head into a recession, stocks are going to be cheaper. Now, is that 18 months? Is that 24? Is it 36 months? Who knows?
I heard Jim Cramer say, you love Jim. I heard Jim say, everybody, because we've been saying this for a long time. What he's saying, a lot of people have been saying for a while, because it doesn't make it. This is a long bull run that the market's had. But there's a lot of people that, because he's saying stay in it to some degree. Jim said, because if you hadn't, you'd have missed one of the greatest run-ups over the last 3 years that the market ever had.
Yeah.
Right? And at least you had a portion of your money in the market.
Exactly. So keep on doing that and keep on making money there.
All right. Well, you are off to play a little golf, huh?
Yeah, I think we're going to play a little bit this afternoon.
You go out there with Brady, I guess?
Not tonight.
Not tonight.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
So you can. Now you don't use the foot wedge, do you?
No.
You don't. I didn't think you would.
Maybe once or twice out of 9.
Anyway, don't forget the podcast edition of the Real Estate Happy Hour Show. Anywhere you can find great pod. That's Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, just all those great places. Anyway, don't forget to like the show, share the show. Man, we love you for it. Anyway, we'll see you next Thursday, 4 o'clock.
See you guys. Y'all have a great week.
All right. Keep them in the fairway, David.
Oh, sure will.
All right. Bye-bye.